this heaven?
No, this is Omaha.
Omaha, Nebraska, in June, a place where dreams really do come true. It's the 1989 NCAA College World Series Highlight Show, sponsored by Wilson, maker of the official ball of the 1989 College World Series.
It's every college player's dream. I'm playing College World Series. It came true for us, so I'm living out my dream right now.
Every year in Omaha, the dream of winning a national championship comes true for an NCAA Division I baseball team. 1989 marked the 43rd championship tournament and 40th straight year in Omaha. For some of the 290 Division I teams, the season starts in late January, and if they're part of the elite final 8 teams, it will end in June in Rosenblatt Stadium, site of the College World Series. The 8-team tournament is divided into 2 4-team brackets. Each division played a double elimination series with the 2 winners meeting in a single game to decide the national champion. For the 10th straight year, the tournament was televised nationally. Omaha's Creighton University plays host to the tournament with close to 300 media representatives covering the action. Although the College World Series has featured some great pitchers and mound performances during the 1980s, this year's series looked to be one of the toughest ever for the hitters.
There are 7 out of the 10 best pitchers in the country here, and it should be a good display of pitching. But I think the hitters are going to be mentally ready to go up there and swing the bat hard.
It appears to go in cycles, and sometimes there's great hitters and sometimes great pitchers. Obviously, this is a pitcher's series, and I think the coaches' attitudes and the fact that they like pitching and defense turn this into a pretty much of a defensive series.
You got to go out there, with your concentration at the top every day, because you're playing against a lot of good pitchers from every team, and if you're not at the top, you're going to get beat.
Game 1 pitted Florida State, with Mike Martin and company making its 3rd appearance in the last 4 years, against North Carolina and Mike Roberts, who were making their first trip to Omaha since 1978. The Tar Heels scored 1 in the first, but Florida State's Buddy Cribb answered back in the second with a leadoff home run off John Thoden. The Seminoles took the lead for good in the third when Bob Reboin's line drive went under Ron Mauer's outstretched glove to score Rocky Rao. Florida State's closer, Ricky Kimball, relieved starter Gar Finvold and shut down North Carolina over the last inning in 2/3 as the Seminoles won the contest 4-2. Norm DeBryan's Arkansas team had its hands full in Game 2 with Gene Stevenson's Wichita State Shockers, who came within 1 strike of being in last year's championship game. College World Series veteran Greg Brummett got the starting nod for the Shockers and kept the Arkansas batters off balance through the first 7 innings. Meanwhile, Wichita State took a 2-0 lead on Jim Audley's 3rd inning home run that also scored Pat Mears. WSU's bullpen ace Jim Newland, the nation's leader in saves and ERA, entered the game in the 8th with a 3-1 margin, and the lead held, giving the Shockers a first-round victory. Cliff Gustafson and his Texas Longhorns, who were making their record 25th appearance at the College World Series, met Cal State Long Beach in Game 3. The 49ers were making their first ever appearance in Omaha under new head coach Dave Snow. With Long Beach State leading 1-0 in the third, Texas rallied with 2 outs on singles by Scott Bryant and Arthur Butcher. Craig Newkirk then doubled off the wall and left center to drive in 2 runs and later scored to make it 3-1. The Longhorns added 4 more runs in the 8th, and Texas starter Kirk Dressendorfer went the distance, allowing only 6 hits and 3 walks while striking out 6 in a 7-1 victory. Game 4 saw Ron Frazier's Miami Hurricanes making their 8th appearance in the 80s, facing Louisiana State and Skip Bertman, who was an assistant under Frazier for 8 years at Miami. The game featured a top pitching matchup. Ben McDonald of Louisiana State faced Miami's Joe Gray. But the Hurricanes got to McDonald early. Jose Trujillo's first inning single was followed by a sacrifice bunt and then a home run to right by Will Vespi. In the third, another Trujillo single was followed by a blast from the bat of FP San Angelo to make the score Miami 4, LSU nothing. Both pitchers went the distance as Gray and the Hurricanes held on for a 5-2 win. Although LSU failed to come back late in the game, the Tiger players in the dugout did their best to pull out the win. That help was in the form of the college players' most common superstition, the rally cap. Most baseball fans are familiar with the common rally cap, the hat on backwards. However, they do come in all forms and varieties.
Backwards is like this. Sometimes we can flip them up like that and back, or do the shark. It's this one right here, and then we go inside out. Just flip your hat inside out like this. Go backwards like that, or frontwards, flip it up. Anything you want to do.
A lot of people like to turn them around or put them on top of their head like this some way, but we had a little something different. It's called the rally goob. It's kind of looks like a goober. If you push it in, put it on top of your hat, like on top of your head like this, you kind of look like a goober, and it seems to stir up something in the game. So we like to call it our rally goob.
We'll pull our strings out and I'll hang down through our nose. It's pretty exciting.
Well, of course, the standard way is like this. We wear it like this, and then let's see. We have one like this, I think it is, and of course we have one goes back like this, another way, and I think the best way is about like this here. About the best way. So we have several different ways we wear our rally caps.
Does the rally cap work? What do hitters think when they look at their bench and see a sea of rally caps?
Oh yeah, it definitely feels good as a hitter to see those guys in there doing something to try to get us going, and it usually works, to be honest with you.
Although rally caps sound simple enough, for some teams, the game situation dictates what rally cap would produce the best result.
Well, we'll start here. This is like third or fourth inning. As we get late in the game, we kind of tilt them a little more to the right, farther and farther, depending on how many runs we need.
Early in the game, if we're not playing well, maybe we might just turn our hat one way or turn it the other, depending on whether your number's even or odd. If we get like maybe in the 8th or 9th inning, it's kind of a close ball game, we might turn them around. Depending on your preference, you can turn the bill up in the back or leave it down. It's a really close ball game. We really need some extra rallying, need everybody to get it up together. We go all out. We pulled this out against University of Southern California in the bottom of the ninth. Got us a home run to win it all, like this. I personally have my own favorite for a rally cap. Prefer to call it the ball and the cap, and that's my own personal one. Thanks.
No thank you, Mr. Holtz. Now, back to more game action. In the first elimination contest, North Carolina and Arkansas were all tied up at 3 apiece in the 8th when the Razorbacks exploded for 4 runs. A single to right by Scott Pose scored Tim Thomas and Rod Stillwell. Mike Oquist got the 7-3 win in relief, and the Tar Heels were sent packing for Chapel Hill. In the winner's bracket, Florida State's Clyde Keller threw a complete game at Wichita State, allowing the Shockers only 4 hits and 1 earned run. On offense, the Seminoles scored a single run in 4 different innings, including this solo homer by Pedro Grafal for the final tally of a 4-2 Florida State victory. Game 7 was another elimination game. Louisiana State jumped all over Long Beach State's Kyle Abbott early, scoring 8 runs in the first 3 innings. The outburst was topped by a 3-run double by Tukey Johnson that scored Phil Espinosa, Matt Groover, and Pete Bush. On the mound, Curtis Leskanik and Paul Bird combined to hold Long Beach State to 5 runs, making the 49ers' first trip ever to Omaha a short one. The final score, LSU 8, Long Beach 5. In Game 8, it was thumbs up for Miami to start freshman pitcher Alex Fernandez, who was 15-1 and seeking revenge for his only loss, which came at the bats of Texas. But the Longhorns scored 3 in the second, including this run-scoring double by Steve Bethea, which brought in Jeff Schultz, who had also doubled. Texas starter Scott Bryant in just his 4th start of the year, had sailed through the first 4 innings before yielding 2 runs in the 5th. The Longhorns added a run in the 6th on Craig Newkirk's second solo home run of the game. In the 8th, Texas put the game out of reach, scoring 6 runs on 2 walks and 5 hits, with the last 2 runs coming on Lance Jones' single, scoring David Lowry and Jeff Schultz. Texas added 2 more runs in the 9th, and Brian Dare shut down the Hurricanes over the last 4 2/3 for a 12-2 win. In Game 9, Wichita State played long ball. Eric Wedge's 3-run homer off Arkansas starter Doug Bennett in the first inning gave the Shockers a quick lead. WSU scored 4 more runs over the next 7 innings, including this solo shot in the 7th by Mike McDonald. Shocker starter Greg Brummett got into trouble in the 8th when Hayden Etheridge's double to left scored Greg Alexander and placed runners at 2nd and 3rd. Bullpen ace Jim Newland was again called upon to hold the Hogs. Newland got 2 groundouts, and the Shockers were out of the inning, still leading 7-4. WSU added another run in the 9th, and Newland wrapped up his 2nd save of the series as Arkansas said goodbye to Omaha. Prime time, rhyme time is what's coming up now. It's our annual salute to the great plays. Holy cow! We'll start on the mound where 2 Texas pitchers show us their stuff. First, Dare shows his bunts are not that tough. Then Bryant handles a hot one that's not hot enough. Wichita State's Gendron keeps his cool on a play worth the price of admission. While Besby of Miami is a man on a mission. Behind the plate, Texas's Prather changes a wild pitch into an out. And Miami's Hirsch on a bunt leaves the umpire no doubt. A hard smash at first is handled by Barber of Long Beach State just fine, while Calhoun of Arkansas dives while guarding the line. A bad hop throw is no problem for Bush of LSU, as Miami's Hernandez sticks to a foul pop-up like glue. And Wichita's Winslow turns a double into 2. Wichita's second baseman Forbes and pitcher Brummett team at a hopper, while Tollison of Texas dives to his right with a game stopper. Tollison dives again and gets more fame, and North Carolina's Arendis does the same. And Forbes on the grounder says, I'm game. Twice, Shockers shortstop Mears needed some aid. He was thankful for the way teammate Forbes played, and also first baseman McDonald, who joined the Golden Glove Parade. Third baseman also need the help and must seen, as North Carolina's Howison and Estroff team. But the men in the hot corner can really shine bright. First, Alexander of Arkansas goes to his right. Then Jones of Wichita State covers the hole. And Newkirk of Texas charges the ball on a slow roll. In left, Florida State's Parker puts on a one-man show. He's definitely not one to take it slow, as he puts the ball on the money with this throw. In center, Jones of Texas chases a deep fly to the wall, while Sherman of Long Beach State also answers the call. But Wichita's Audley tops them all. LSU right fielder Calla helps out Lim, who never sees the ball. And finally, Etheridge of Arkansas makes quite a haul. What's left to say but holy cow, that's all. In Game 10, with Louisiana State down 3-2 to Miami in the 6th, the Tigers' Mike Bianco sent a Will Vespi pitch over the right field wall for a 2-run homer and the lead. Russell Springer lasted 8 innings for the Tigers, allowing only 3 runs and 6 hits while striking out 9. With 1 on and 1 out in the 9th, Coach Skip Bertman brought in Ben McDonald to finish out the game. And finish Miami he did, striking out John Vieira and Jose Trujillo, both on called strikes. The Tigers advanced 6-3, while the Miami Hurricanes had played their last game of the 80s. With the weather threatening in Game 11, the 8th inning was a long one for the Wichita State Shockers, but it seemed even longer for the Seminoles of Florida State. With the score tied at 3 and facing elimination, the Shockers loaded the bases on singles by Jim Audley and P.J. Forbes and a bunt single by Mike McDonald. Rain then held up play for close to an hour as the drama built. The first man to the plate after the delay was catcher Eric Wedge, who already drove in 2 runs earlier in the game. He delivered again with a slicing single to center to score Audley and Forbes. Sacrifice flies scored 2 more, and Wichita State handed Florida State its first loss, 7-4. The Stars came out for Game 12 as 2 of college baseball's top pitchers matched up. But it soon turned into a slugfest. Louisiana State's Ben McDonald got racked for 9 hits and 11 earned runs in only 3 1/3 innings work. 2 of the Texas runs came in on this Arthur Butcher double off the wall. Meanwhile, it took LSU 3 innings and a bad hop error to finally get to Texas ace Kirk Dressendorfer. He lasted only 6 innings, giving up 5 hits, 8 walks, and 4 runs. The Longhorns' Brian Dare closed the door on the Tigers, striking out 5 while allowing only 1 hit and no runs over the final 2 1/3 innings. In a potential great pitcher's duel, Texas holds on 12-7 to win the West bracket and advance to the championship game. In Game 13, with Texas's opponent up for grabs, Florida State and Wichita State met for the 3rd time in the series. The surprising trend continued as pitching took the back seat to hitting. The Seminoles, making all 9 of their hits count, tallied 9 runs, including 3 on this 8th inning blast by Brad Parker. But the Shockers pounded FSU pitching for 15 hits with Mike McDonald, Pat Mears, and Todd Dreifert each collecting 3 apiece. 3 Shockers scored in this 3-run 4th inning blast off the bat of Mike Whitworth. Wichita State advanced to the title game with a 12-9 win. More than 13,700 fans came out to see the national championship game, pushing the series attendance to 132,865, a College World Series record. Home team Wichita State was the first on the board, scoring in the 1st inning on Brian Winslow's RBI single. 4 first-inning walks meant the end of left-handed starter Scott Bryant. Brian Dare came in from the bullpen to prevent any further damage. But in the 2nd inning, 1 Wichita State hit and 3 Texas errors added up to 2 more runs for the Shockers. On the mound for Wichita State, a very intense Greg Brummett faced only 10 batters through the first 3 innings. But in the 4th, 3 Longhorn hits and 2 Shocker errors added up to 2 runs for Texas. In the 5th, Lance Jones laid down a bunt toward 3rd and collided with first baseman Brian Winslow, who had been playing the whole series with a stress fracture in his right leg. The collision broke Winslow's leg, but the emotional Shocker urged his team on as he was helped off the field. In the bottom of the inning, Wichita State added 2 more runs on Pat Mears' homer to left for a 5-2 lead. Texas pushed across another run in the 6th, but the pitching of Brummett kept the Longhorn batters off balance. The big Wichita State right-hander allowed only 6 hits and 1 earned run while striking out 6 and going the distance. For his efforts during the series, Brummett was named the most outstanding player of the tournament. He was 3-0 with a 1.52 earned run average. With 2 outs and none on in the 9th, Brummett struck out pinch hitter Kevin Pate to give the Shockers a 5-3 victory. For Wichita State, it was a real team effort and the school's first NCAA team championship in any sport.
I just knew I could beat these guys, and I kept telling myself I could. And I got a lot of help in the defensive, and got up clutch hits when we had to. It's just the greatest feeling of all time.
And for the school's players and coaches, it was a dream come true. This highlight show was brought to you by Wilson, maker of the official ball of the 1989 NCAA College World Series. This has been an NCAA Productions presentation.